Hello friends, I am Dr. Urmi Satyan and we will discuss today the shortest form of poetry, and that is haiku poem. Dear friends, you might have heard Francis Bacon, who said, "Brevity is the soul of wit." This statement perfectly suits the structure, thought and purpose of haiku poem. Proverbially we say that we should be short and sweet in our conversations. But haiku teaches us that we should be short and succinct. The meaning is the precious nut in the hard shell of the composition. A haiku poem is a Japanese form of poetry. The basic structure is very simple. It is a 3-line poem with 5 syllables in the first and the third line and 7 syllables in the second line. Some haiku poems are written in free verse too. Such haikus may not follow the 5-7-5 syllabic pattern. The Japanese haiku poet Matsuo Basho is a fountainhead in writing haikus in free verse. With this overall understanding, we can also frame haiku poems. For our study, we will follow the classical structure of 3 lines and 17 syllables only. Look at this one. I am a good boy, never lazy, late nor low, rise and bed like bird. We can see here that the structure of 17 syllables, which is the basic requirement of a haiku poem, is followed. However, we may not appreciate this as it doesn't have any deeper meaning, any wider context. It is just introductory, a common comparison between birds and a disciplined child. A reader might miss the kind of poetic beauty, some deeper reference to some or the other context also. Now find this one. Good old days and nights stored in my heart, mind and soul, like pearls in seashell. This haiku poem follows the structural pattern fixed for it. It has given a simile and has established a comparison between a seashell full of pearls and a heart full of memories. But still, we may not find it amazing or impactful, as it does not appeal to our sense of novelty and excitement. Remember S.T. Coleridge, who said novelty and excitement are the basic features of poetry. So, a poet needs to be witty in projecting emotions when he is writing a haiku. Wit elevates the feature of wonderment, that is, I think, the core of a haiku poem. We all know that a haiku poem is compact in size but heavy in context, and so the poet employs some poetic techniques to make it more wide and deep in its meaning. Sometimes contrast in thoughts or situations is also used to bring out the element of shock or surprise. We can say that the contextual glory is the soul of haiku poetry. It is suggestive, piercing and revealing in presenting the central idea of the poem. This 3-line poem is small in size but heavy in content. So, to make it more meaningful, we need to be a little creative in showing the ascending order of the element of astonishment. The first line sets the mood for some thought, idea or incident that is the central point of attention. The second line has a dual function. It magnifies the theme and simultaneously creates an atmosphere of bewilderment, astonishment or a feeling of awe. And the third line reveals the reason for that astonishment. The third line throws direct light on the target issue. It is the most revealing line as it directly attacks the reader's sentiments or intelligence. I will not be wrong if I say that haiku is the most easy and the most difficult form of poetry. Easy because the format is simple, difficult because it is wide in content, deep in meaning and huge in context. Now, how shall we equip ourselves if we want to write haiku poem? So, first thing, we need to decide the subject matter with the contextual depth. You may take the subject from mythology, history, polity, economy, culture, human relations, etc. Secondly, contradictory themes can be selected to highlight some hidden truths. Contradiction or contrast is used also to draw a reader's attention to something that might have been missed in the simple interpretation. It is the poet who opens up a new horizon of meaning. The poet also channelizes the emotional flow of the reader in some novel direction and introduces the reader to the wonder element that was hidden so far. Not only that, the poet sometimes makes the reader curious and hungry to know more about the truth. And a great, huge dictionary of the most appropriate and suitable words is also essential. As a haiku poem is made up of only 17 syllables, repetition should be avoided. But that's not a rule. You may repeat the words to enhance poetic sensibility or to ensure the assertive aspect of the subject of haiku. There must be a fine tuning between reason and imagination while selecting the words for a haiku poem. Remember P.B. Shelley, who says, "Reason respects the differences and imagination the similitudes of things." So, a kind of deductive method should be applied to make a haiku poem, and we will be able to deduct when our verbal apparat is rich and sound. Here are some examples for your kind consideration. Beneath moonlit sky, millions manifest, yet heart aches, awaiting. Ripples dance and shine, unaware pebbles and you, water absorbs pain. So, what do we need to write a haiku poem? First, concept, theme, contrast, selection of words with deep meanings, revealing effect in the last line, and novelty in idea, expression and projection ability to make the readers curious. And this is how we can make a beautiful haiku poem. So, all in all, a haiku poem is a Japanese form of poetry, tiny in structure, heavy in context. It has poetic sensitivity. It has powerful impact factor as far as the emotions are projected. It is strong in context, also innovative in the way it is being presented. It has wonder element. So, dear friends, writing haiku is a real brainstorming activity. Go for it and enjoy. Bye for now.